everyone, you're watching News Epicentre with me, Maria Shakil. The Supreme Court has put a stay on the Uttarakhand High Court's order to vacate 29 acres of railway land in Haldwani. The apex court stated that though the land is crucial for the development of the railways, 50,000 people cannot be uprooted in 7 days, putting a stay on further construction in the area. The court posted the matter for February 7th, asking the state government and railways to find a practical solution. The bench was particularly concerned with the fact that many of the occupants have been residing there for decades, claiming rights on the basis of leases, taxes and purchases. The petitioners highlighted they have been lawful residents of the area for more than 60 to 70 years. But the government argued in the court that there is no doubt the land is meant for the development of railways, adding that several orders for eviction have been passed under the Public Premises Act. Now, beyond the legal conundrum, the Congress, the Samajwadi Party and MIM have entered the fray, accusing the BJP government of targeting the Muslim majority population of the area. The BJP has accused the parties of trying to stoke communal tensions in a matter that remains sub judice. While the top court has called for a solution to evict and rehabilitate, who is responsible for this impasse? And most importantly, who is trying to gain political mileage from this case?
हमें पूरी उम्मीद है कि आगे को भी जो है फैसला सुप्रीम कोर्ट की तरफ से हमारे ही हक में आएगा। अभी तो स्टे हुआ ना, कार्रवाई अभी रहेगी।
अब जो फैसला है वो दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो चुका है, जो कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने किया है, वो ना कि हमारा फैसला है। और मैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जस्टिस का और सुप्रीम कोर्ट का बहुत सम्मान करता हूँ कि उन्होंने ये फैसला गरीब मजलूमों के हक में किया है।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इस मानवीय पक्ष को समझा और उन्होंने तोड़ फोड़ की कार्रवाई, जो नोटिस आदि जारी किए गए थे, जो वहाँ पुलिस फोर्स भेज दी गई थी, तोड़ने की पूरी तैयारियां हो गई थी, उस सब पर रोक लगा दी।
The matter has been fixed. Matter is sub judice before the Honorable Supreme Court and the matter is fixed for 7th February. Let's wait for 7th February.
Now let me take you through the timeline of this case, because that becomes important. It's been going on since 2007. In 2007, the High Court ordered demolition of encroachments on railways land. Demarcation process is stopped midway because there were protests that took place. Several years later, 9 years in fact, in 2016, the High Court ordered demolition of these encroachments. The Railway Protection Force, the Railway Police Force, in fact, registered land encroachment case. 2017, this matter reached the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court stayed the High Court order, saying pleas of residents are not heard. The Supreme Court then asked petitioners to approach the Uttarakhand High Court first. In March 2022, that is last year, Railways tells the Uttarakhand High Court that over 4,000 eviction notices have been issued. And in December, the Uttarakhand High Court passed an order that all the encroachments must be removed. January 5th, 2023, the petitioners then tell the Supreme Court that title cases are pending before the district magistrate, and then the Supreme Court has stayed the HC order, that is Uttarakhand High Court order, saying that 50,000 people cannot be uprooted in matter of just 7 days. The Supreme Court has asked the state government to find practical solution, and the next date of hearing has been decided as February 7th. So these are the arguments that have been made by the petitioners in this case. The names of residents in municipal house tax records are there. Remember, this is about claims, contested claims on that piece of land. Residents have been paying house tax regularly for years. There is possession of land pre-independence which has been recognized by the state government. The gas and water connections have been operating in this area for years. The Aadhaar numbers issued have accepted this as a residential address. So while the need of the hour is to find a solution, the question that I be asked on News Epicenter this evening is, who is politicizing this case? Let me bring in my guests. Hani Pathak is BJP spokesperson. We have Sujata Paul representing the Congress. Sanjeev Unial is an advocate. Alok Lal is former DGP of Uttarakhand. Shahid Ali is an advocate as well. I'm going to begin with you, Sujata Paul. There are competing claims on this land. So let that be settled in the court of law. Why is this being given a tone and tenor that the Muslims are under threat?
I don't know who is doing that, and if I may say so, it is the BJP which is doing this the maximum. And I'll give you an example. Yesterday and day before, you were running a clip of the media in charge of Uttarakhand Congress by the name of Mr. Mahavir Chauhan, who was saying that we are not going to let the demography of the area change. What did he mean by that? Because in this particular area, there are no Hindus and Muslims and Sikhs and Isais. These people are all Indians. And these are poor people. A lot of people who have been staying there for the last 80 years or more as well. There are people who have come and started staying over there after independence, but these are all Indians.
Yes.
And when we talk about what happened in the High Court, Maria, it's very important to understand that the state government has behaved rather irresponsibly. Whether they are encroachments or whatever, in this biting cold, if people were sitting over there on the street, should the government not have come out and spoken to the people? Should the government not have made some provisions for their rehabilitation?
Yes, but then why?
Had to happen?
No, if it is about people, then let that be settled in the court. It is about that competing claim. I'm repeating my question, ma'am. Because what is problematic here is that it is being called as a second Shaheen Bagh. That it is being said that the Muslims are under threat. अगर एक piece of land है, it's a title suit, then let the Supreme Court decide. Why make it about Hindu-Muslim? Why? Who is politicizing it?
No, the Congress party has not done it at all. And
Hani
we
Pathak,
are not just Congress
so the charge
people,
is that it is the BJP that is doing it.
Listen carefully. Our government respects the decision of the Supreme Court in this encroachment case. And one more thing I want to clear, Mrs. Sujata Paul, kindly listen very carefully. In 1974, Indra Hridesh ji elected first time when UP and Uttarakhand are one state. Is one state.
Ji.
Then she was elected as a Vidhan Parishad.
हाँ, लेकिन उसका इस केस से क्या है? वो तो हमें भी पता है. वो आप असेंबली इलेक्शंस के जो रिजल्ट्स हैं या वो भी दैट इज इनकॉन्सिक्वेंशियल है. सवाल इस यहाँ पर नहीं, सवाल पर ये है, सवाल यहाँ पर ये है कि इसको पॉलिटिकल कलर क्यों दिया जा रहा है.
उसका मतलब ये है कि उस समय इनकी गवर्नमेंट थी और उस समय इनको इनके ही द्वारा बसाया गया था. और उस समय जब इनके द्वारा बसाया गया था तो मैं इनसे ये पूछना चाहती हूँ कि रेलवे की संपत्ति पे आपने उनको क्यों बसाया था और क्यों एक्शन नहीं लिया गया था, और उसके कारण ही आज ये स्थिति का सामना इनको करना पड़ रहा है. आज उन पर इनको दया आ रही है, उन मजलूम लोगों पर जिनके इनके कर्मों का, बिकॉज ऑफ इंदिरा हृदय जी ब्लेसिंग्स, बिकॉज ऑफ इंदिरा हृदय जी ब्लेसिंग्स, दे ऑल आर
from a paper.
Yes.
Because of only Indra Hridesh blessings, they all are.
What is becoming problematic here is that those visits by politicians, Samajwadi Party politicians, MIM politicians, all of them are on ground trying to stoke violence. My question is simple. This is about a piece of land. There are residents who have been providing their views. No, one moment, ma'am. the residents have deeds for the land. They have been living there for decades. The railway, on the other hand, claims they have maps, a notification of 1959, revenue records from 1971, and results of the 2017 survey to prove their ownership of the land. So railway is saying that they have ownership of the land. The number of people who have ownership of the land, the number of people who do not have the ownership of land. That is what the court has tried to say, that there is need to segregate people Alok Lal among those 50,000 residents who have papers and who do not have papers, and then come up with a plan. Who do you see is responsible for this kind of chaos that has been playing out in the court for so long, and it has become such a big crisis now? Alok Lal.
I am sitting in a warm room wearing all these woolen clothes. In this biting cold, if I were told to leave my home a week later and stand outside on the street, I would have been miserable. This order of the High Court is in that category. It is inhuman. And therefore, I am so glad that Supreme Court had seen that there is lack of wisdom in the order of the High Court, and they have stayed it. As for the legal aspects, if I had papers and if I had to show papers, somebody had to look into them. Have they spent time looking into my papers? And if they have not, how have they reached the conclusion that I should be thrown out? The government has set up schools there. They have made a primary health center there. In the same land, if the government can create these facilities, and if there are 10 or more private schools running in that area, obviously the railway authorities had been sleeping for decades and not had done anything at all.
No, but this case has been going on since 2007 or much longer.
Yes, 2013 or whatever date it is, but that was not started by the railways. Don't forget, this was a PIL by a private individual, which led to all this chaos. So the PIL was for a different reason, but the High Court included this aspect also in its ambit.
Yes.
It is free to do so under 226. They have done the possibly technically the right thing. But the order on humanitarian grounds is unacceptable. I will not throw out people in this.
So how do you evict people without a rehabilitation plan, Sanjeev Unyal? That is a question that has been asked by the court, and that is the reason why notices issued.
I have different altogether point of view regarding this particular matter. What happened was in 2013, a PIL that some mining mafia is going on in that area.
That's right.
And that mining mafia was having illegal construction by of living there also. So these illegal people who were living over there were involved in so many illegal things also. So that was the first question. So in that particular purview, High Court has made the party to these people who were living illegally in those areas. In
so
this area,
some people
which we are talking right now.
Out of 50,000.
Now my question.
So not all of them are unauthorized.
They were unauthorized. Yeah.
So that group
now the
who were
question is,
doing illegal mining were unauthorized occupants. Not all of them are unauthorized.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Yes.
But when people came to know, then when the court came to know about this, that a number of people were involved in illegal mining over there or living over there, then they made the party. Then they came to know, because previously what going to happen in 72 years was never happened in last 14, 15 years. Because now government is much more concerned about their treasury, about their jameen, about their land, about their total, I think, inputs. Now the government is much more sensitive. So that's why this situation has arisen. Nobody was caring. Now what happened? The politicians were having gloves with the local authorities. That was the reason.
So you are essentially saying that for political gains, and for securing vote bank, unauthorized occupants were not asked to leave the land. Yes, you have made your point, but I want to understand from Shahid Ali, who's an advocate as well, the point being made by the court of trying to segregate what is authorized, what is unauthorized, and at the same time coming up with what will be a rehabilitation plan, because that becomes important. Shahid Ali?
Yes, there are
Shahid
two
Ali?
things basically.
Yes,
First of
please
all,
go
I
ahead.
would like to say that
Go ahead.
humanity has won. And the
I need
inhuman
only
face of
20
BJP
seconds.
has now been exposed
Who has been
to public
exposed?
at large. Not by an ordinary person, but by Honorable Supreme Court. Once Honorable Supreme Court says that rehabilitation plan should have been there, and such an order cannot be made in such a manner, the government ought to have made arrangements for rehabilitation and all, with the prior to deployment of forces and all, prior to prohibiting the persons that
So,
they are going to
Shahid
be
Ali,
evicted.
you know, the party in this
inhuman face
case,
of government has now been
one moment.
exposed.
Yes,
See, just a moment, just a moment.
Shahid Ali,
Just a
one question, because this is about railways versus those who are there on that piece of land.
I am putting a question.
No, you are bringing in the government. Which government?
I am putting a simple question: from where the railway has got the land? From where the railway has got the land? Railway is the part and parcel of the government. Railway is the part and parcel of the government. So, if the railway is claiming
So
the land,
Uttarakhand is
therefore
not a
the government
party
is
in
claiming the land.
this case.
At that
Uttarakhand
time,
is
the
not a
party
party
was
in
always
this.
there.
But I don't.
You must be remembering when demolition drive was prevalent in Delhi.
Then again he will
the parliament
say,
had passed
"You
an
made
act
the
whereby
government."
The entire argument, Shahid Ali, you know, while we look at it from what the court says, from the Supreme Court point of view, that you have to find a solution. There is a human angle to this issue. Those are the words of the Supreme Court, because there are people here who have lived for 60 to 70 years. But what is becoming clear is that there were people who were allowed to live here. Not all of them are authorized, just as not all of them are unauthorized. How did they continue? Was it because of vote bank?
Exactly.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Many of persons were even the leaseholder. They are the leaseholders. The government provided them the lease. The government auctioned the properties. They bought the properties.
No, I know about house tax and all. I know about all those details. Shahid Ali, I know about all these details, but I'm asking a simple question. What is happening here is that it is a battle which has to be fought in the court of law.
Absolutely
Why
not.
make it about
Absolutely
protests?
not.
Why
You
make
must
it about
remember.
protests?
Why not?
Why should it be given this kind of
They
color?
want to make it a Shine Bagh
Please allow
Akhada.
me. When demolition drive was prevalent in Delhi, by virtue of order of Honorable Supreme Court, the Parliament passed an act, thereby annulling the order of
नहीं
Honorable Supreme Court.
आप मेरे सवाल का जवाब नहीं दे रहे।
Government could not have passed such an order.
नहीं, आप मेरे आप उस एरिया को लीगल डिक्लेयर करो, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट इशू ऑल टुगेदर. माय क्वेश्चन इज सिंपल.
मेरा वही
ये
है
2000
लोग
I need
55,000
हाँ, बिल्कुल सही, बिल्कुल सही. अगर 50 बिल्कुल
आ सकते थे.
Absolutely.
क्या
If there are
government-
50,000 people,
उत्तराखंड
I
नहीं दे सकती थी?
no. The
मान
problem here is
लेती
because of
मान लेती
competing
वो रेलवे की
claims.
जमीन है.
Because
मान
of
लेती.
competing claims.
क्या उत्तराखंड गवर्नमेंट रेलवे को जमीन नहीं दे सकती क्या वहां पर?
नहीं.
उन 50,000 लोगों के लिए क्या एक्ट नहीं पास कर सकती थी उत्तराखंड गवर्नमेंट?
चलिए,
क्या
अब वो तो
इस
सुप्रीम
सर्दी
कोर्ट
के
अब सेटल
मौसम
कर
में
देगा.
लोगों को बाहर सड़क पे लाके तमाशा करना
नहीं,
उत्तराखंड
नहीं,
गवर्नमेंट के लिए सही था ये?
नहीं, यही
ये
मुझे
BJP
जानना
का
है.
inhuman face
नहीं.
exposed हुआ है once again.
No, but why should it be seen from that prism? सवाल ये है कि it is about competing claims for the land.
Democratic country.
Residents say that they have deed for the land. They have been living here for decades. But why make it about BJP targeting Muslims?
Is there autocracy in India?
लेकिन मुसलमानों को टारगेटिंग की कहाँ से बात आ गई?
In India, whether the government of
Honey
India,
Pathak, okay, Honey Pathak, Honey
whether the
Pathak.
government of India,
Okay,
is
okay,
gonna
okay,
be-
Honey
I need
Pathak.
only 20 seconds.
Honey Pathak.
My dear friend, it is not a matter of majority or minority, because if there is a Gafur Basti on one hand, then on another hand Indra Basti is also there. Indra Basti is also there. Is Indra Basti name belongs to the name of Indra
from the angle of being Indians, then this could not have been.
Just a
This
minute,
matter
hold
has
on.
not been
Just a
perceived
minute,
from the angle of being Indians. This matter has been perceived and had been perceived only from the angle of being Muslims and being Hindus. Nothing else.
So, but why is it being perceived that way?
Completely
No.
humility.
But why is it being perceived that way? if there are revenue records, notification, maps, all that is important in terms of ownership settlement, then why should it be seen about majority versus minority?
Still the ownership issue has not been settled. Still the ownership issue has not been settled.
No, it has been
and
settled.
Today, once the Honorable Supreme Court has passed and stayed the order of
All
Uttarakhand High
illegal
Court, this has
activities
become
has been
specifically
done by
clear
the Muslim
that
community.
the Uttarakhand government was at fault. Uttarakhand
Okay,
government
you have made your
was
point.
in
Child Ali, you have
conspiracy to
spoken.
evict those
Child Ali, you have
persons from
spoken.
there.
Let me bring in. No, one moment. Okay, go ahead. Ma'am, go ahead. Hani Pathak, go ahead.
Ma'am, I need to say only this is not a matter of majority and minority, because if there is a Gafur Bastis on another hand, there was an Indra Bastis also there. Just let me.
Why
clear
was
that
Mahavir
if
Chauhan saying that the demography will not be allowed to be changed?
Indra Basti is indicate. Swargi Indra
Why
Basti
was your media in charge saying that the demography will not be allowed to be changed? What did he mean by that?
Mrs. Sujata Pal, just clear me, Indra Basti belongs to Swargi.
I want to ask you, why did Mahavir Chauhan say that the demography will not be allowed to be changed? Why did the mayor of Haldwani, who is a BJP person, not go out onto the streets to stand by those people who were there? Why is your Waqf board chairman not representing himself when he says that 18 properties are Waqf properties? Are they illegal? If the Waqf properties are illegal, if the overhead tank is illegal, if the school is illegal, then this government is illegal, madam.
We certainly hope that this issue should not have been politicized the manner in which it has been, with all the politicians actually jumping into this and making it some kind of Hindu versus Muslim, trying to make it about majority versus minority, and not seeing this as just as a title suit about a piece of land which has competing claims. That's where it will be settled at the Supreme Court. Thank you so much for joining us, Haldwani Pathak, Sujata.